I never thought that I would live to see the day in the business world where data was cool. It used to be all about hardware, then ERP software was cool, databases, but now we're back to data is cool, and specifically big data. I remember 10 years ago I was working for a company where we would help do data enrichment, data cleansing within manufacturing operations, and we used to go in and say we were data plumbers. And that was kind of our line, which means we were really dirty and it wasn't cool to be in the world that we are. But now, again, big data and big data analytics is cool. And interesting to know that in 1969, when the U.S. Sent the first manned mission to the moon, that the mission went with less data than what's on your average laptop today. So it's pretty interesting to think how far we've come in terms of the dependency on data in the last 45 years. In the geospatial world, the vast proliferation of unstructured, non-relational, heavy data creates massive challenges for our industry. But it also creates new opportunities, and that's exciting. In June of this year, Business Insider quoted that the rate of growth in data is rapidly outpacing our ability to analyze it. And the article went on to say that only about 0.5% of all data generated is actually being analyzed. So it kind of makes you wonder, why are we creating all of this wasted data if we're not doing something with it? Connecting the data dots for revealing new and unique insights is where all of the value creation is happening. That's where the future is connecting the data dots. That's what's creating the value. Obviously, the discussions this morning, the presentations was on that same line. And particularly for valuations of startup companies in our space is all around connecting the data dots. That's where these valuations are coming into play. And just as a side note, it really is interesting the valuations that are happening in the M&A world just around future of connecting data dots. But as much as everyone talks about being in the game of big data and big data analytics, it's really not that easy. In fact, it's hard. And the success in the geospatial world of big data and big data analytics to date is relatively limited. Why is it so hard? Well, number one, the sheer quantity of data, aerial data, optical data, social media data, etc., makes it a barrier for users to use based on the cost of storage and the difficulty of moving that data around. It's really incredible that DigitalGlobe alone has 70 petabytes of data. That's a lot more than Netflix. It's not as much as Facebook, but it is an enormous amount of data, 70 petabytes of data. The number two reason why this is so hard is the computational power required to crunch and analyze petabytes of data requires significant investment. And then number three reason why this is so hard is the user base, the new user base, wanting and needing to extract information and insight is not the traditional geospatial expert. In fact, I was just thinking, if you took some of our new clients that DigitalGlobe has as part of our geospatial big data platform as a service, and you put them in the audience today, they probably would have no clue about what we're talking about. These are new users wanting and needing to extract this data, and that is a challenge for us. So, new users and new verticals are trying to connect the geospatial big data dots for new applications, and that's a paradigm shift for our industry. I was thinking today about some of the presentations. I've only been in this space for about 3 years and was thinking back to 2 and 3 years ago, talking about this subject and thinking, when is this going to happen? And towards the end of my presentation today, I'm going to share some good news with you about how this is happening. But two areas that I believe that our industry needs to focus on in order to enable the unlock for these new users that we need in order to grow our industry. Number one, we need to educate these new users on what's possible and what's not possible. Educating on what's possible is the most important, And let's start there, but let's not forget to educate these new users and new industries creating new applications on what's not possible so they don't spend the time going down that path. Not to say that we don't want them to think big, but getting a video of the, from our world, getting a video, real-time video of the entire globe every minute of the day is just probably not possible, at least not in our lifetime. So let's not tell them that it is. The other area that I think we need to focus on in order to enable this paradigm shift is to provide the easy-to-use platform and tools next to the big data, of course in the cloud, to enable the information and insight extraction. Said another way, let's give these new users a car to drive to their destination versus the old way of doing it where we would give them a stack of bill of materials and a huge assembly manual to build a car. That's just not realistic. And if we, as geospatial evangelists and experts, of which we all are, can do these two things, our pie will expand. If not, we're going to all be competing for the same bite. And from a person that thinks about sales and marketing our services every day, I think we all enjoy bigger pies. The focus is on these new markets, new users, and new applications. And DigitalGlobe is committed to educating these new users around these new applications, and we're committed to making it easier for them to extract information and insight about our geospatial big data. The execution of our strategy and partnering with many of you here will allow these new users to easily access our 5 billion square kilometers of DigitalGlobe imagery, plus other sources of imagery and information, query that database with a question, and then derive the relevant answer in an easy to understand format for the inquirer. Again, that's really the holy grail of our industry, making it easier and getting back to Jay's point about simplicity. That is the biggest challenge from my point of view in this industry, but it's also the biggest opportunity. So in summary, given the explosion of data and profile of emerging users of the data, DigitalGlobe and like-minded geospatial companies need to accelerate our investment towards two things. One is easy access to data and manipulation of the tools without the cost, the traditional cost, complexity, and burden of managing the content. And then number two, we need to make investments towards extracting the actionable answer without the cost, complexity, and the burden of managing the content and the tools. Here's the good news. As I said earlier, 2 years ago, I talked about this. To be honest, I didn't see a lot of traction in 2014 in the industry around the subject I'm talking about, geospatial big data, information and insight extraction. But this year, I've seen more traction in the last 6 months, and not just talking, but actually DigitalGlobe has signed up many customers, both Fortune 1000 customers, mid-market companies, and startups that are on our geospatial big data platform as a service, and that is evidence that it's working. And the applications, which hopefully we might be able to talk about in the panel today, are incredibly exciting. So not only is it possible to do what we've been talking about as an industry, but it's actually happening. The future's now. It's very inspiring, and I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you.